วัสดีค่ะรายการมองเรามองโลกวันนี้มีบทสัมภาษณ์พิเศษของนักธุรกิจที่ประสบความสำเร็จอย่างมากในอาเซียนนั่นก็คือคุณโทนี่เฟอร์นันเดสผู้บริหารสูงสุดของสายการบินแอร์เอเชียผลงานที่โดดเด่นของคุณโทนี่ก็คือพลิกฟื้นแอร์เอเชียจากเดิมซึ่งมีหนี้สินอยู่มากในสมัยที่ยังเป็นของรัฐบาลมาเลเซียจนกลายมาเป็นสายการบินต้นทุนต่ำที่ประสบความสำเร็จมากที่สุดสายการบินหนึ่งของโลกค่ะวันนี้เราจะมาฟังเส้นทางชีวิตเส้นทางธุรกิจและมุมมองที่น่าสนใจของนักธุรกิจที่ไม่ธรรมดาคนนี้โทนี่เฟอร์นันเดสค่ะโทนี่เฟอร์นันเดสชาวมาเลเซียวัย 49 ปี เกิดที่กรุงกัวลาลัมเปอร์จบการศึกษาจาก London School of Economics ประเทศอังกฤษเมื่อเรียนจบเขาทำงานอยู่ที่นั่นและเคยทำงานด้านการเงินให้กับ Virgin Records ของ Richard Branson ในช่วงปีค.ศ. 1987 ถึง 1989 เมื่อโทนี่กลับมามาเลเซียเขาได้ทำงานในแวดวงดนตรีกับบริษัท Warner Music เขาเริ่มต้นจากการเป็นกรรมการผู้จัดการที่อายุน้อยที่สุดของบริษัท Warner Music มาเลเซียต่อมาเขาเป็นรองประธานภูมิภาคเอเชียตะวันออกเฉียงใต้ของบริษัท Warner Music ตั้งแต่ปี 1992 ถึง 2001 ในปี 2001 โทนี่ได้ออกจาก Warner Music เพื่อมาตามความฝันที่ต้องการมีสายการบินเป็นของตัวเองเขาเข้าซื้อกิจการ Air Asia ซึ่งตอนนั้นเป็นของรัฐบาลมาเลเซียและเป็นสายการบินที่เต็มไปด้วยหนี้สินท่ามกลางคำวิพากษ์วิจารณ์ว่าเขาเสียสติไปแล้วที่ทำอย่างนั้นแต่เพียง1 ปีเขาสามารถกำจัดหนี้สินทั้งหมดของ Air Asia ได้ด้วยวิสัยทัศน์ที่ต้องการให้ Air Asia เป็นสายการบินต้นทุนต่ำสายการบินแรกของมาเลเซียโทนี่คิดทำสายการบินต้นทุนต่ำเพราะต้องการให้การเดินทางโดยเครื่องบินเป็นสิ่งที่ทุกๆคนทำได้โทนี่ประมาณการว่า 50% ของผู้โดยสารแอร์เอเชียในตอนนั้นเป็นผู้ที่เดินทางโดยเครื่องบินเป็นครั้งแรกและก่อนหน้าที่จะมีสายการบินต้นทุนต่ำอย่างแอร์เอเชียมีเพียง 6% ของชาวมาเลเซียเท่านั้นที่ได้เดินทางโดยเครื่องบินจากจุดเริ่มต้นที่มีเครื่องบินเก่าๆเพียง2 ลำโทนี่ต่อยอดธุรกิจไปเรื่อยๆปัจจุบันแอร์เอเชียมีเครื่องบินนับร้อยลำรวมถึงมีเส้นทางการบินที่ครอบคลุมกว่า20 ประเทศทั่วโลก Tony, why do you want to run an airline business in the first place?
You know, I was sent to school when I was 12 years old in England. And prior to that, actually, if I go back a bit, my mother used to sell Tupperware. And I'd always go meet her in the airport. She was flying around selling Tupperware. And I always loved planes. And I remember when I was about 5 or 6 years old, I told my dad, one day I want to own an airline. And of course, he laughed at me. My whole life has been that. Everyone laughs at me whenever I say something. And but it really started to form in my mind when I was sent to boarding school. And I remember calling up my mother and saying, I'd like to come home for half term. She said it's too expensive. And I said to her, one day, you know, I'm going to make travel cheap. And that was how it really started to form in my mind. Whether I really believed it would happen, you know, I'm not sure, but I'm one of those guys who never stops dreaming. And from some dreams comes some reality.
What did you see at that time back then when you actually started Air Asia that you think this is the right time to go into the business?
Do you know, there's a very fine line between brilliance and stupidity. And it's very, very narrow. I wasn't a big analyst. If I was an analyst, I never would have started it.
Oh.
I just said, do people want to fly cheap? Yes.
Okay.
And so I started it. Did I say this is the right time? No, I never thought about
Market
it.
research,
no, that's never been my strong point. 600 million people in Southeast Asia, 25 million people in Malaysia. I thought, if I could make this work, it'll definitely work. And so I just went with it.
Was it fun?
You know, it was fun and it was scary. Fun because, hey, not many people can say they own an airline, right? Fun because you could meet people in the street who could come up to you and say, I never thought I'd ever fly. Thank you very much. Fun because you gave people jobs, whether they're pilots or cabin crew. Also, many people in AirAsia have dreams, and that we've made those dreams come true. Scary in that I knew nothing about aviation. I was from the music business. Scary because I took over an airline which owned 250 staff, and if I failed, they were out of a job. That scared me the most. But luck was on our side, and we were able to build something quite special. So it was okay.
Did you have a model airline in your head
Yeah,
at that time?
it was a really the first low-cost carrier I flew was Ryanair,
Okay.
and I was so impressed with the model. I said, "This is what I want it to be." But I thought that we could be Asian about it. You can never be someone else. I thought the operational model of Ryanair was great, but I wanted ours to be a classy low-cost airline. Not to increase the cost, but that we had good people, we had friendly staff. It doesn't cost anything to smile. We had people who had innovation, who had drive, and but the principal model of AirAsia is Ryanair.
What were the biggest obstacles during the early years of AirAsia?
Well, lack of money. The lack of money was one. And the airline industry is very regulated. It's really close with the governments.
Right.
And you're invariably competing with airlines that are owned by the government. So that was tough, breaking in and getting the support from governments and getting the route rights and all those things. And then avoiding what I'd say unfair competition to put us out of business. Malaysian Airlines could put us out of business like that because they were subsidized by the government at that time. So to get through to the government to say that we should have a level playing field was tough, but we got there.
So you actually overcame all those obstacles and you open up a new whole sector, budget airlines, and now there are new players as well. How fierce is competition today?
Everyone talks to me about that. But can I remind everybody that I started this airline with 2 planes against Malaysian Airlines, 150 planes.
Yeah.
That's competition. I started a route from KL to Singapore against the best airline in Asia, if not the world, Singapore Airlines. So competition is always there. It was fiercest when I was small.
Oh.
And now we are much bigger. There are more entries. But there were entries before and there are new entries coming in now. I don't worry too much about competition. I worry about ourselves. If we lose what we're best at, then we will die, whether we're the only airline or whether there are 10 other airlines. In terms of competition, the market is huge, and AirAsia can't take all of it. There's Knock here, there's Lion Air, there's Tiger, there's Jetstar. Ironically, all named after animals. And we welcome it. I have no problem. The market will choose the winners. The market is big enough for more than one player, and competition is what I've grown up from day one. Whether it was the music business, whether I was competing with Grammy, or whether I'm competing with Knock, that's part of life.
How did you survive the early years against Singapore Airlines and Malaysian Airlines?
I'm not quite sure. To be honest, I look back at time and think, how the hell did we do this?
Yeah, how?
When I leave the office sometimes at very late, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and I look at all our planes, and I sit back and I think, how did we do it? I think we were just very aggressive in marketing. We were very old-fashioned businessmen that focused on cash. We simplified the airline business and so created a niche. Airline business is so complicated. I fly on Thai tonight to Paris, and they have first class, business class, economy. They have MRO, they have kitchens, they have cargo, they have narrow body, wide body. It's a complicated business. For me, it's very simple. I move people from A to B, one class, all first class, and at the lowest possible price, and I try and keep the business simple. So I think we survived because we created a business that wasn't there, and the other guys took time to react to it or didn't take it seriously. And on top of that, 2 very key ingredients. We had amazing people. We had, and Asian companies don't realize the real strength of an organization is not the patriarch, it's not the owner, it's not the CEO, it's the team. And the team goes all the way down to the guys who carry the bags as well. And we had a real can-do spirit. And you can't put that in the balance sheet. And on top of that, we were damn aggressive on marketing. You know, I mean, I see today, our guys are innovative, you know. We presented a Furby to the Prime Minister of Thailand. You know, we have an AirAsia Furby, which is one of the more visited than Gangnam website. So that kind of creativity and energy, no bureaucracy. You know, the Furby idea came out from someone in the promotion department, and we just let it go. So I think those recipes, simplifying the business, taking cost out of the business, a can-do attitude from the people, and marketing.
Is there still room for other entrepreneurs who want to start a budget airline in Asia?
I think there is, but I think it's tough. You know, I started this airline with my partners when oil price was $30. We built a huge infrastructure when there was no other low-cost carrier. I think for someone putting in the airline business now, $130 oil, not many planes available to buy in the market because all of us have bought the next 5 years of supply, and new competition already in. So whoever starts a new low-cost airline has to deal with NOC, has to deal with Jetstar, has to deal with Tiger, and AirAsia, and Lion Air, etc., Cebu Pacific. So tough, but you know, it's a funny business airline in that it attracts capital because it's a sexy business. So you know, I'm sure there'll be people that will try, but I think it will be tough.